Hi everyone, welcome along to another video. Now, if you've ever been in a jam situation and someone said, oh, play a 6th or play a 9th, and you've ever thought, what does that mean? Well, I'll explain that to you today as simply as I can. So the first thing we're going to do is play the G major scale, and it goes like this. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So now what we're doing here is we're playing the 3rd fret of the low E, the 5th fret of the low E, the 7th fret of the low E. Same on the A, 3, 5, 7, and then 4 to 5 on the D string. Now, that sounds like this. This note here is the same as this one. It's a G note, and that's the first octave, so we're just playing one octave of the scale. Now, what we do to get these interval numbers is we just add a number to each of the scale steps. So in this case, G is do, A, re is a 2, mi, the B is a 3. Okay, then we just carry on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the 8th note is the octave. So if someone says to you, can you play me a 6? Yeah, all you do is count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in that major scale. So there's a 6. What is that note? It's an E note. All right. Now if someone says play a 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. That's a 5th. All right. And if someone says play a 3rd, 1, 2, 3. There we go. That's a 3rd. Okay. Really good. There we go. Quite easy. Just add the number on. Now, there is another thing that sometimes you hear, and that is fine when you're playing, you know, the 3rd and the 6th and everything and the 7th. But when people start to say add a 13th or add a 9th or add a 11th, then there's a little bit more to learn. So now what we're going to do is play exactly the same scale, but we're going to carry on into the 2nd octave. What do I mean by that? Well, we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Now we're back on a G again, so we just start that same scale again and we play G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. So exactly the same notes, all right? You're just going 5, 7, 9 on the D, 5, 7, 9 on the G, and then 7 to 8 on the B, all right? So if I play that 2 octave scale, we have this. So exactly the same notes, we've just played the same thing twice. So now let's say someone says to us, we want an 11th. So what we're going to do is this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're into the next octave of the scale, but we just carry on counting. 9, 10, 11. So there's the 11th. All right. So that makes sense. Now that's a lot of counting. So you don't want to do that each time. You know, so if someone says an 11th, you don't want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's a lot of counting. Let me just go back to a 9th for a second. All right. So let's say someone plays a 9th. They say, play me a 9th. Okay, so here we go. We're going to play G major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Carry on. 9. Okay, now we've seen this note before. What is it? There's a G, there's an A. Do, re. So a re is a second. All right. So a 9th is the same as a 2nd. So instead of counting up all the time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you can just think of a 9th is the same as a 2nd. So there's a G, there's an A, there's a 9th. But what a 9th means is it's above the octave. So here's your root note there being a G. The 9th of G in this case, in G, is the same as a 2nd. All right, so let's say that someone says a 10th. Okay, let's do it the hard way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 10 is the G, A, B is the 3rd, so it's the same as the 3rd. So a 10th is the same as the 3rd, but up an octave higher. Okay, all right. Let's do the 11th again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. What is that note? It's a C note. Where have we seen that before? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's the same as the 4th. So 11th is the same as the 4th. And you can just carry on going that way. So what I did was I got a piece of paper and I wrote all of that down. So I said, okay, well, 9th is the same as a 2nd. A 3rd is the same as a 10th, or a 10th is the same as a 3rd. And an 11th is the same as a 4th. And the other very common one is a 13th is the same as a 6th. Now, the other thing you hear is some people will say, play a flat 6 or a flat 13. So what does that mean? So no need to get confused with this. All it is, if someone says to you, play me a flat 3, what that means is 1, 2, 3, so there's your third note in G. We move it back 1, we flatten it. There'll be a flat 3. All right, so 1, 2, 3, flat 3. There we go. What if someone said a flat 6? Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Move it back 1. Flat 6. All right. Flattened 7. This one comes up in the blues a lot, and that flat 3rd actually. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we flatten it. And that's a flat 7. So normally in the blues we use that a lot. The flat 3rd and this flat 7 here. So let's have a real world example of this and see if you can work out what to play. Alright, so let's say we're playing a G7 chord and someone says to you, make that a 9th chord. How are we going to do that? Well, first of all, we're playing a G chord, so we need a G major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So what is that note? It's an A note. All right. So we need to add an A note to this G7 chord. Now, that is a lot of counting. So we know a 9th is the same as a 2nd, an A. All right. So now we're just going to see if we can find an A around where our fingers are. So here's a G7, where's an A? There's an A there, so here's a G9. So I just added my pinky there to that 5th fret of the high E. Let's say someone says, make that chord now a 13th. Let's do the hard way first. G, A, B, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Wow, that's a lot of counting. That note is an E note, but the 13th is the same as a 6. So you can just think of a 6, but up an octave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so there we go. There's a 6. Now, so it's an E note. Where can we add an E note? There it is on the 5th fret of the B. So 13. So that really helps a lot. All right, so I hope that makes sense. Pretty easy, really. You're just playing the major scale and counting up as you go. And for those tricky ones, you know, those 9ths and the 10ths and the 13th, you just go up an octave. But remember that shortcut way that you can do. So just remember a 9th is the same as a 2nd, a 3rd is the same as a 10th, and 11th is the same as a 4th, and then we have that 13th, which is the same as a 6. All right, so if you can remember those shortcuts, and the last thing to remember is that this applies to the chord you're playing. So what I mean with, we've done this in G. So if someone asks you to play a 3rd of G, that is a 3rd of G. And if someone's asks you to play a 3rd of A, then it's the 3rd note from the A major scale. All right, so someone asks you to play a 3rd of D, it's the 3rd of the D major scale. All right, so have some fun with that and see you next time.